Hello. I have my iced coffee. I put on some fake eyelashes. Let's do a one-take wrap-up. So in case you are new to my channel, the idea of these one-take wrap-ups is it's my monthly wrap-up, but I don't edit them at all because I hate editing wrap-ups. So here we are. I'm just going to tell you the books I read this month and get on with it. So I read 6 books this month, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is about what I've been averaging each month. This was felt like a little bit more though because these books were longer in general. So let's just get into the books I read because I had a very good reading month, like with my mood of reading, because I loved all the books I read. So first, I read A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I loved this book. Definitely my best book of March, for sure my best book of the year so far. I love this book so much. I did a full review of this on my channel. I will link it. It's just my absolute favorite. I love Nesta so much. I love Cassian. I love this world. I love Sarah's writing. I just love everything about it. So go read this. 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to be spoilery, especially for this book because I know it's so highly anticipated. So I loved this book. Nesta's a bad bitch. That's it. That's the story. So I really loved this. Next, in an attempt to not mourn reading that book so much, I went straight into Winter by Marissa Meyer. This is the finale to the Lunar Chronicles series, and I loved this book. There were so many twists and turns that I did not expect. I really grew to love these characters in a way that I also didn't like see myself like coming to. For some reason, I had always like held this series on like a different level, like, oh, I don't know if I'll like it as much, but I loved it. And this finale really gave the characters such a nice ending, but also left it quite open, and I've heard that some of that is addressed in the novella wrap-up, which I plan on reading very soon. But I really did like the ending that they were given, and Thorn and Cress have my heart so much, but also like Cinder and Kai and Scarlet and Wolf. I love them all so much. I love that the ending and how they conquered the battle and everything. I love the ending that the villain got. She, you know. So I really liked Winter. I think there were a lot of great moments. Marissa Meyer knows how to write a book that keeps you engaged the entire time. Even if there's nothing big happening, there's still some emotional development happening, and I really liked that. And I just want to read more by her so badly. I love her, and I read this so fast, which is insane because it's like an 800 and something page book, but like I devoured it because it was so good. And then I listened to the finale as well as from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, or you know, series or whatever, Return of the King. I did really like this. The ending, like all the sequences in Mordor, are my absolute favorite. I love the scenes of destroying the ring. It just is so epic, and I loved getting to see them return to the Shire. And I actually really like Frodo's bittersweet ending of, you know, he tries to go home but it's not where he belongs anymore, and he finds like a new home, like some peace with the elves, and I just love this story. I will say, I've said it in my reading vlogs, reading these books back to back wasn't the best choice for me. I think there was just too much for me to absorb. I should have spread them out, but I was in a book club and read them. But I am, that being said, so glad that I finally read these. These have been on my shelf, no joke, for like 7 years. So like they're probably the oldest books on my shelf. There's some of the oldest books on my shelf that were unread, so I am glad that I did finally pick them up and read them, and I did really enjoy them. And Samwise, he's just the best character, like one of the all-time best literary characters. I love him. Next, I read Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I didn't know what to read next, and I had my sister pick, and she chose this for me off my shelf. I loved this book so much. A 10 out of 5 stars. Honestly, all these books are like really solid 5 stars so far, and I really liked this one. I love Reed and Lou so much. The juxtaposition of the witch hunter and the witch and them having to find common ground, beautiful. Loved it. Like A+, such a good story. The twists at the end literally like shattered my heart. I loved it. I loved seeing the relationship develop. I loved them starting to be more open with each other, more truthful with each other. I'm very excited to see Reed's journey of acceptance, because I think it's going to be a long time coming. I'm reading Blood and Honey right now and he's still not there. So I am in love with this series. I'm in love with her writing, and I cannot wait for the third one to come out too in August. So 5 out of 5 stars on that one. And then I read 2 romance audiobooks. After finishing 3 months of Lord of the Rings listening, I needed a change. So I went straight into A Sweet Mess by J.C. Lee. I think I gave this a 4. I actually gave it a 5 stars. It's because I usually, even if I have like qualms, I'll still give 5 stars on Goodreads sometimes, just because why would I not? I think I gave it like a 4.5 in my review that I wrote on Instagram, but this was a story about a local baker who owned this cute little bakery, and the hero is a food critic. Like, he writes reviews, and he comes in because his car is broke down, and he gets served a cake that was actually supposed to be for a 6-year-old's birthday party. So it was chocolate and peanut butter and gummy worms, and he was like, oh my god, this is the worst cake ever, which honestly, stop being so dramatic, that sounds kind of good. And he writes a terrible review and like totally tanks her business. And on top of all of this, they had met at the bar the night before, like the night after, and had a one-night stand and then like parted ways, and he didn't put 2 and 2 together that she was the business owner of the review he wrote. And later he tries to make it up to her by offering her to come on this TV show he's producing, like a baking, cooking TV show. I imagined like Great British Bake Off, but I don't know what it was really. They didn't talk a lot about the TV show, to be honest. And she agrees because she's trying to save her business. She does not want to lose it, and she's expanding and has a lot of money put into it. So that is their romance. It was really, really cute. The only reason I knocked it down a little bit on star rating is the ending was just a bit rushed. I would have liked more with the surprise trope at the end. You can probably guess what I mean, but I'm trying not to spoil. I wanted just more of that development in that time and everything. But overall, it was a really good story, and I love stories that involve like bakeries or food trucks or restaurants, that sort of stuff. I think they're so cute. So I did really like it, and I do want to try more books by J.C. Lee because I really enjoyed her writing and her like characterization, because there was also a lot of side plots that were really well done. Like the main character's mom had been with the dad, you know, for however long, and she was not happy. It was an abusive relationship for sure, so I would say trigger warning for like spousal abuse and parental abuse, because he was quite abusive to the main character as well, mostly just verbally and like emotionally. But by the end, she like got out of that marriage, and that made me so happy. Like, that was such a good moment. She came to help her daughter, and I really, really loved that. So there was a lot of like mother-daughter bonding and a great romantic relationship as well. So I really did like it. It just was a little bit rushed at the end. And then the last book I read this month is The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert, which I give like a 3-ish stars. I did really like it. I like Talia Hibbert's writing. It just was super rushed. Like, not just like a little bit rushed, but like I had like an hour left in the audiobook. I'm like, how are we solving any of this in the next hour? Like, I just was never convinced that they really loved each other, that they really had a relationship. They were definitely attracted to each other and they had great chemistry, but there was never any like really strong foundation of feelings. At least in my interpretation of the reading, I didn't feel that. But I did like the characters, and I liked the setup of a fake engagement to a prince. I didn't explain the plot, but she gets caught with this guy making out in like a alleyway, and he panics and says it's his fiance because he is a prince of some country and can't be caught in another scandal. And so she goes along with it because he's going to pay her, and she needs to pay for her sister's medical bills and Harvard bills. She has sickle cell and is going to Harvard, which can be a really expensive, you know, thing to do, especially the illness. So she agrees to it and goes to live with him in his like little prince cottage, and it's a really cute story, and I like that they do have some development, but honestly, like, it's not really there. Like, I didn't feel like they were in love, and I really need to finish because I have something at 11. It's 10:57. And lastly, the other thing that I didn't like is the villain made absolutely no sense. The villain was kind of the king. He was like, who is the main guy's character's older brother or something, and he was like super mean and like physically abusive to the brother, to his wife, to his children, and I was just like, why? Like, why is this part of the story? It didn't make any sense. So big trigger warning, I would say, for child abuse and spousal abuse, and it like it does describe it in some detail, so if like that's triggering to you, don't read this book. But yeah, I gave it like a 3-ish stars. And because I really need to get going, lastly, I am reading Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. I really wanted to count this toward my March like wrap up, and I make the rules because this is my wrap up. So I'm just going to pretend it kind of counts for this. It kind of counts for next month. I'm only on page 139. I wanted to finish today. We'll see. It's April 1st, so I guess it would go towards April anyway, but I am really enjoying this. I'm going to guess I'm going to give it a 5 stars. So that is my wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. I am very happy that I feel like I read a lot. I feel like it's not that many books, but Winter and A Court of Silver Flames are really long, so I did a lot of reading, and I am back to reading my romance audiobooks, and I cannot wait. I already picked out a new one because I just finished The Princess Trap yesterday. I'm excited. I'm going to start devouring all the romance audiobooks I can. So that is my wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. I upload every Sunday and sometimes Wednesday if I'm feeling extra productive. I hope you come back and like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!